So today, before the service started, I was talking to Neil, our presidente and resident crier, and I told him that today there was a goal for today's sermon. It's the very first line on my little outline right here. It says, the goal today is for me not to cry. I'm already starting to fail. So Neil has also designated himself as the hugger that if I were to break down, he will rush forward and wrap me in his loving arms and say, "It's okay, Pastor. Be ready. But don't jump over people. It might hurt them. Go around." Today we celebrate All Saints' Day. We celebrate the lives of the saints who have come before us. Also, I must say, looking at my outline today, which is bizarre, I know. Again, help me not cry. Good? Cool. All right. So, we're looking at the lives of the saints who have come before. We have quite a few saints we could pick from today. There are books all about them. We have St. Francis, St. Oscar Romero, St. Jude, St. Christopher, St. Joan, St. Teresa, so many saints. So today, I'm going to talk about a saint who many of you probably don't know. This would be St. Esther. So, get ready. So, St. Esther never graduated high school. Her father had died, and someone had to help out around the house. She had younger siblings who needed care, and so she said, I'll have to leave school, stay home with Mom, and help out. She also realized she had to get a job to help pay the bills. And so, even though her uncle told her that she would never be good enough, she could never possibly do it, she went to school and became a hairdresser. And I believe the very first phone call she made after she got her diploma was not to her mom, not to her friends to go celebrate. She called the uncle who told her she would never be good enough. So, she was helping out around the house, and she met a slightly older man when she was about 13 and he was 18. And got in his car one day, and they drove off together and had a nice date, which my daughters are never allowed to do. But they met, and he went off to war. After he got back, they were married, and she got him to help out with the kids as well. Now, she was someone who came to church every single week. Unless, of course, she was sick, which prevented her from getting her hair done very nicely, because appearances matter. She would go on to have 3 of her own children to take care of, and she used her trade to make sure that everyone's in the household's hair was done rather nicely. Not only herself and her husband and the kids, but also her siblings, her in-laws, and anyone she could find, make sure it was all very, very nice. She was a woman who was very, very active. She made sure that when there was a meal at the church, she'd be in the kitchen helping out. If something needed to get done, she would do it. She made sure everyone felt they were welcomed and felt loved, especially at family occasions. She was a woman who never met a pastor at her congregation that she liked until they left. Once they were gone, they were the best pastor ever, and everything would be so much better if only they would come back and get rid of the pastor we currently have. Filled with love. Eventually, she would have grandchildren who she would rejoice in having each and every day come by, who have sleepovers at her house. And then she would mourn the day when they become teenagers, and teenagers who no longer want to go visit Grandma and Grandpa all the time and have sleepovers, until, of course, they start having kids, and the great-grandchildren wanted to come by as well. She was a traveler, going around to see the whole world, not the whole world. We have a few world travelers in this congregation. She saw more of the United States. She was a worrier by trade as well. If anything could possibly go wrong, she would fear it. A hard worker and a saint. On January 1st of this year, thank you for the close-up, she passed away. Hold on. And she was my grandmother. So, each of us as saints in our lives. Hey. How you doing? Thank you. Each of us has saints. Each of us people in our lives who have shown us how to live. Each of us has shown us how faith is meant to be lived out. My grandmother was not perfect. As I said, she was not very fond of pastors. She was not very happy to become a pastor most of the time. And sometimes she would question why it was that bad things had to happen to people who went to church. Because that's life. We also taught how to love. Taught the importance of coming to worship, of being part of a community, of giving of ourselves more than we take for ourselves. So, here in our congregation, over the past year, since last All Saints' Day, we have also lost people. Today we have 5 candles behind me to signify their lives, and we'll be praying for them later on. We had St. Mildred, who many of us did not know so well. She had left quite a while back, but towards the end of her life, knew that she is where she belonged. And so I and some others of us had the honor of being alongside her in her last moments. We had St. Ed and St. Virginia, shut-ins, who got to greet wonderful people of our congregation who came by to see them, who were always welcoming and loving, willing to give of themselves whenever people came by, who brought joy to their families, joy to all they met. We had St. Christy, taken from us far too early, taken from us by violence, but who left a wonderful legacy in her son Robert, who worships alongside us. And we have St. Zeke. St. Zeke, who never was known by his real name Earl, but who gave so much laughter and joy to everyone that he ever met, who saw the whole world and brought joy to every corner of this world. So many saints we have met in our lives. So many saints who have loved us, who we have loved back. Now, I've gone around the room before and named out different saints. Sometimes we have a good laugh. When I say St. Larry sitting right there, and there's St. Jim in the back, well, midway through. Yes, you, Jim. And St. Al, and definitely St. Mike. But the reality is that we are all truly saints. We are saints who give love to each other, saints who, when we meet others who know we are Christians, let others know and experience our loving God. Saints who give a legacy behind us. What does that mean to us? Do we hold that true in our hearts? You're getting heavy. Can I put you down? Thanks. But all of us are given a great opportunity each and every day to touch people's lives. Sometimes we know the people we are helping, sometimes we don't. And sometimes people we meet, like St. Pat said during his speech today, affect us even more than we could possibly even imagine. We celebrate All Saints' Day, not just for these great exemplars of faith, but all of us who are so imperfect, all of us who are flawed, all of us who have our own issues, yet all of us who are still loved, all of us still lifted up, and all of us able to be great examples. So what's your story going to be? What's your story that's going to come up here and make the pastor cry through the whole thing? What legacy will you leave behind? And someone looks back at your life and says, here I've been changed by my experience with them. I experienced God by being with them. What will that story be? I hope it's a good one. Amen.